But yeah, that was so random. I was at All Saints waiting for a beer. At the little bar that's there, like 3 guys were sitting there talking about movies. Like I could overhear their conversation, but I wasn't looking at them. And as I'm just sitting there waiting, I hear, "Fuck you, Brian." And I'm like, who the fuck is... And then I look over, it's Jeff with a beard.
Oh, yeah, he's got a big beard now.
Yeah, he's just giving me one of these, like...
Freedom and mother effing weep. God, so you do get startled by people in public, huh?
Yeah.
I came up to Brian in the grocery store.
People say the most random shit to me. Like, it's even... I'm in the grocery store, and I hear from behind me, "Oh, big fan of the podcast." And immediately I'm thinking, like, who the fuck... How do you recognize me for a audio podcast? And then I turn around and it's Ian, and I was like, oh, well, that makes a lot more sense now.
You're like, do I have a stalker or what the
Well,
fuck?
the best part was Ian's like, I tried to get my dad to come over and say that. Like, I wouldn't know who the fuck his dad is. Like, that, I'd be so confused.
I gotta work up to it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could get my dad to deliver the line, correctly. I've never heard him say the word podcast. I always just say I'm doing a show.
I'll be like, "I'm a big fan of your," and then he turns back to you, "Ian, what was it? What was that? What was I supposed to say?"
I'll make him wear my podcast shirt, so he can just point down at it.
I'm repping for you.
You're like, just be what the f-? You're like, who sold theirs to Goodwill?
Well, yeah, it's like, how do you got that shirt? Like, I bought that for the guys. Like, that's definitely what I bought somebody.
I heard you're the guy that casts all the pods. Like, what?
Like, is that what the kids are saying nowadays? Oh, that could be your Ren Fair thing. Brian Libet, caster of pods.
Why did you turn it to Borat? Like,
That's his medieval accent.
Yeah, it's Eastern European, brother. Where do you think the medieval happened?
where do you think the medieval happened? Not like the Crusades, or like
Eastern Europe, motherfucker.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Bry Guy into Super Friends. I'm your host, Brian Labick. Joining me for this episode are 2 people that are continuing their completely possible, but for the sake of this episode, I'm calling it impossible, movie mission. Andy Stoles.
What's up, podcast people?
And Ian Leidick.
It's time to drop a deuce into 2023.
As in, like, Mission Impossible Deuce?
Oh, yeah, because it's also because, deuce means 2, and then you drop a 2, then it's a 3, because it's the next year.
Okay, all right.
I explained the joke. That's why it's funny.
Works for me. I'll take it.
I couldn't tell if this other intro I had written down if I've already done it.
Do you just have a laundry list of intros that you may or may not have used?
I usually delete them, but I was like, I feel like I've said this before.
Well, you could go back and listen. You remember, I feel like you're the one that listens to all the beginnings of all the episodes, right? Especially the ones you're on. I feel like you should know if you used it or not.
Okay, hold on. I have done so many intros, and half of them are actually not pre-written that I don't know. I don't have a running catalog.
So you wrote one down that you may have actually just freeballed it one day when we were recording. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I got
you. You know what? I'm just going to say it. Fun fact, almonds cry when they're milked.
I don't think I remember that one. You just wasted it.
I didn't have to explain that one, though.
No, that one I got. Yeah, that was fine.
So the candy bar
all right, so we are...
joy is an oxymoron, then, huh?
Oh.
Just got it. That's why they call it that.
I don't even
Fucking
know
pervert running that company.
how I can continue after this. We're back to continue our Never Seen That series for Mission Impossible. We have done Mission Impossible 1. We did it about 2 months ago. We are gearing up to watch Mission Impossible 2 from the year 2000. We promised I was going to do that, but I was like, oh no, maybe not everybody gets the Conan reference. But good job. We promised to do this probably about every 2 months. That should get us up to Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. It is in July of next year. So assuming that date holds and they don't change it, we should be on pace to hit that mark.
Yeah, if they don't drop a deuce.
Yeah. So if you're wondering what the next, what the Never Seen That stuff is all about, so I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory, but these have always been envisioned as a way to introduce someone to a movie or series that you've sort of been surprised that they haven't seen yet, or that we kind of feel like they should see. So in this case, Ian's really on the hot seat. Andy's kind of along for the ride for this one. But usually our format is we start off, we try to record a little bit before watching the movie. We see how much they know going in. We'll break for the movie, and then we'll come back afterwards and give thoughts after viewing the movie and sort of give our kind of review of it. So again, all of these movies are brand new to Ian. Andy has seen, he thinks, up to number 4 out of 6.
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe.
So yeah, it's still a little fuzzy, but for the sake of covering our bases, and make sure he's up to date on all of them, and have them a bit more fresh in his mind. I'm the one making him start from the beginning and watching these all the way through. So we didn't want him jumping. I didn't want him jumping in at 4 and sort of kind of remembering 1, 2, and 3. So we're starting from the beginning for everybody here. So getting into some of our previewing questions for Mission Impossible 2. Ian, I'll start with you. What do you know about Mission Impossible 2?
That it came out in the year 2000, and that's it.
Nice.
They already did the only thing I know from the only Mission Impossible, the only thing I knew was the drop down from the ceiling thing.
Okay.
And then everything else I know about Mission Impossible is from half watching a trailer in a movie theater.
Which would be the new one, probably.
The newer ones. And so my recollection of Mission Impossible doesn't start again until Simon Pegg shows up.
Okay. You won't have too much longer to wait, actually.
Yeah, but for all I know, that I didn't start paying attention to like the 5th movie still,
Yeah. Okay.
See, I have no fucking clue.
So this will be fun. Okay, I'm excited.
Simon Pegg 4?
Simon Pegg shows up in 3.
Shit, okay.
Yeah.
So they probably didn't put him in trailers till 4 though.
Yeah, I don't know if he was in. Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know if he was in the trailers for 3, but after that, probably started showing up in the trailers. Yes. Andy, I know you've seen this one, but I guess how much do you sort of remember about Mission Impossible
2? So, I remember that Tom Cruise's hair is longer in this movie.
That's true, yes. That's the one takeaway.
Yeah, and I do believe he drives a motorcycle.
I'm going to assume that could be another Tom Cruiseism, right? Does he drive a motorcycle in this movie?
Right.
Could be something, because I honestly don't.
I feel like
remember
the cover of the movie, or like one of the things is just like him on a motorcycle and his long flowing hair is just like.
Oh, you know what? Yes. Okay. Yes. I will answer that question already. Yes, there is a big motorcycle sequence now that I think about it.
Yeah.
And I can't believe I kind of forgot about it. So, yeah, we can already check that box for this movie. Sorry, spoiler, Ian.
Yeah, motorcycles.
Predictions going in. Ian, do you have any predictions whatsoever, having watched one Mission Impossible movie? What do you maybe predict or think could happen in this sequel?
Well, this, I think, took a lot of brain power, and will go to show what kind of thinker I am. I think there's some type of chase scene in it featuring Tom Cruise driving a motorcycle.
I think you might be right. You might be onto something
it's
there.
It's uncanny. It's fucking uncanny.
Yeah, I don't know where you're pulling this from. I mean, you really are clairvoyant. Like no one has ever told you that before, but I'll be the first.
I'll go one up. He's not wearing a helmet.
I don't know. Yeah, you're so smart. It's a pat on the back for you from me.
What's
well
that
done.
arcade machine that made Tom Hanks bigger?
I was gonna say the MotoGP, but I thought you were talking about
What was the name?
motorcycle arcade games.
Zartan. Ian is the new
Zartan.
Zartan.
Zoltan.
Zoltan.
You can't see it, but we're doing the Z's.
I only know that because of the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Oh yeah.
You never saw what movie was that? Dude, Where's My Car?
Dude,
right?
Where's
That was
My
Dude,
Car,
Where's My
yeah.
Car? Yeah.
Never seen it.
Oh god.
Did
It's a funny
did
movie.
in high school.
It's completely ridiculous, but it's funny.
I did a dialogue read for it though in my high school video class.
Without seeing the movie.
Yeah, he just handed out random scenes.
Okay.
And, yeah, I never. So I had to like guess what my character was feeling based on like 5 lines. I don't even know if I was Kush, Ashton,
Yeah.
Kutcher, Ashton Kutcher,
Sure. Yeah, just keep going. You'll get there eventually.
Salma Hayek.
Andy, I know you've seen it, but any based on I guess what you maybe have forgotten, any predictions for the movie?
I feel like Ethan Hunt
That's his name.
is going to go rogue.
Oh, that should be another good question for Mission Impossible movies. If Ethan Hunt goes rogue in the movie.
Yeah. I feel like he went rogue in the first one. I feel like he's going to
That's
go
true.
rogue again in this one. Prediction.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to make it this list of like shit that we have to keep coming back to. Predictions based on the first one, maybe. Ian, do you think you will like Mission Impossible 2?
That's a great question. I don't think I'll have less enjoyment, but again, based on that first one, don't know if this will ramp up to the levels I expect. It's a 2000s action movie that's not The Matrix.
Yeah.
So it's that time period. I feel like it's not going to be as cool as The Matrix just because nothing was back then.
Well, let's
So,
see if
like,
this tips you over one way or the other. It's directed by John Woo.
Okay, so this is going to be a great movie.
Andy, even though it's a rewatch, when was the last time you think you watched this one? Has it been years?
Years.
So yeah, based on like how much you even remember of it, do you remember liking it the first time, or are you interested in the rewatch?
I remember liking it. I feel like I liked 3 better, but what I remember of 2 was it was more action oriented and less like what a twist oriented.
Oh yeah.
Like the first one has a couple of swings where if you're not familiar with the swings, you're like, "Whoa, that was cool."
Yeah, they take the spy thriller part of it pretty seriously in the first one.
Yeah, and it's a little less spy thriller and more like impossible mission-y, I guess.
Ian, this may dock some points for you, but I just remembered the theme song for this movie is by Limp Bizkit.
So there's this TV show called JoJo's Bizarre Adventure where the author is very inspired by music. Like there's, the characters named after different bands and songs and stuff like Killer Queen. The Queen song was a heavily featured character. They just defeated a villain whose stand, that's their powers, was Limp Bizkit. So very up to date on Limp Bizkit culture.
I have yet to see that show.
And being like, damn, Limp Bizkit.
I didn't see that show, but I heard it's like ridiculous in a fun way.
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah, they really ratcheted it up in the 3rd season when the stands come in and all the music. Like, it gets, oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
There's Ian's 3-word review. Trying to think.
There's a character named Robert E.O. Speedwagon.
All right. Anything else we need to? I'm trying to think what else we need to do. Well, I mean, we sort of talked about how it compared to the first one. Do you expect to, Ian, like this one more than the first one? We can always revisit this whenever we get to the actual reviews to see where you fell. But
all I'm gonna say is woo woo woo.
Andy, do you think you will enjoy this the second time around more than the first one?
I feel like this one will still hold up.
Okay. So let's get into some of the predictions I think we have. That we're gonna try to rerun these every time we do one of these movies and throw out some numbers and some guesses before watching, and then see where we fall after, and see who got maybe close to it. So one of the first predictions, I think we started this after when we were reviewing Mission Impossible 1. How many mask reveals will happen in Mission Impossible 2? Ian, do you have a guess?
2.
2?
I'm hoping 0, but 2.
Andy, what are you guessing?
Go 4.
Ooh,
Yeah,
okay.
That's a buttload.
I will split the difference and I will go 3. And we'll see where we fall. How many mask reveals before Ian gets pissed at mask reveals?
1.
0. 0. I'm already pissed that it's going to happen during the cold open.
I think we established the Tom Cruise running tally, right? So it's starting to stopping. We're counting that as one run, even if he runs through like different scenes. Right. As long as it's a continuous run, that is still 1. So how many times will Tom Cruise run in this movie?
So I feel like last time was 2 or 3.
It was.
Like
I think it was 3.
It
was a lot less than I expected.
So I feel like that trend's continuing, and it's gonna be. I'm gonna go 3. Run it back.
Okay. Andy, where do you fall?
I feel like because this is less a spy thriller and more an action movie, I'm gonna go higher at 5.
Ooh, okay. I think I'm actually gonna go higher too. I'm gonna go 7.
Oh man.
And part of me feels like that's low, but I
How long is this movie?
It's
hey, Brian,
yeah, we'll see.
What happens when a receiver runs past a defensive back?
I don't know.
They get burned like you
with
with your 7 guess.
Fucking boomed him.
I don't know. Like I said, I'm still feeling like I'm high on this, so we'll see.
Sounds like you're high.
Maybe. I think we sort of established this already. I think just as we were talking. Prediction: does Ethan go rogue in this movie?
I think does he not go rogue? I'd be surprised. Like, I'm hoping in Rogue Nation or whatever it's called, that's the one where he just doesn't go rogue because everyone else is already so rogue, it's impossible to go rogue.
He double rogues. It's like a double negative.
I think he's going to follow.
by just like following the rule book.
Follow the rules.
He just becomes...
It's going to be the most boring fucking movie.
He just becomes... He's just like a CIA auditor.
Undercover boss is a rogue guy. Like... Andy, prediction: does Ethan go rogue?
Yes, he's checking that box.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen this movie, and I feel like somewhat recently, and I still am trying to remember if he goes rogue or not. But I feel like it's the safer bet just to say yes, and just
see what you're trying to remember is like, does he officially say I've gone rogue? Because you know he's doing some rogue shit. You just don't know if he declares it to other people.
So every Mission Impossible, or at least most of them, I feel like set up with like he gets a mission, and then you take the dossier or destructible instructions, and he does a mission. So at that point, is he following the parameters of the mission to do what they tell him to do, or is he going off the rails because something else happens? Like, that's, I guess, where I'm trying to figure out. Because I feel like they all, or at least most of them, start with, like, a legit mission, and then, like, for some reason, he always ends up, like this one even, started with a legit mission, or Mission Impossible 1, started with a legit mission, and then by the end of it, he's rogue. So I feel like you get a little bit of both, but yeah, somewhere in the second...
He was tricked into going rogue, almost. Like, his hand was forced.
To go
kind
rogue.
of.
To clear his own name.
Well, it was go rogue or go to, like, the gulag.
Yeah. Right.
Like, that was for his options.
Go rogue or go home.
That'll be Mission Impossible 9. Any other Tom Cruise staples or Mission Impossible things we should look out? I think those are the only 3 we sort of talked about beforehand. Again, we'll keep reoccurring those every time we watch the Mission Impossible movie. Maybe we'll find some other ones to think about, but I think that's all I have for this one.
I mean, I don't really know what they do.
Okay. Well, maybe after 2, you'll start to see a pattern, and we can start referencing some more of that each time we do one of these.
I'm going to get real hung up on these masks. I feel like I'm not going to be happy about it.
It's the only thing you're going to be focused on and not going to be able to get away from it.
I'm like, why did they just call this movie The Mask?
All right, anything else you guys want to throw out prediction-wise or anything before we actually get to this movie? There'll be no turning back after this point.
I think... Sorry, Andy, I need to get this out there. I think we upgrade, and this time he doesn't just fuck someone's hand. He actually fucks. Remember that lady that's the evil guy's wife or girlfriend or whatever? like shows up and then they like hand. fuck
Oh,
at one
okay,
point.
yeah. I'm like,
It's that weird hand
when did he
fucking
fuck
thing.
someone's hand? And then, okay, yeah. The caressing and the yeah, the cheek rubbing and stuff.
He
Yeah, I
said
got you.
something
Okay.
Yeah,
crazy,
the
like,
hand
I
fucking-
tasted that pie, so I know, or whatever.
Yeah, and he beats her hand.
And I honestly just completely forgot about that until you guys just brought it up just now.
How do you forget? Like that's.
And
the
now I'm
most-
like, God damn it,
like-
we spent way too much fucking time on that the last time, and yet it's still here.
that is the most like outrageous
Yeah,
director
it was so
decision
awkward.
in that movie.
All right, well,
Like, everything else in that movie makes some kind of sense. Not this hand fucking
That actress was
nonsense.
probably like, "If you want me to do what?"
Like she's like, is this gonna be legal? They're gonna rate this X?
if anyone listening to this is like, what the fuck are you talking about? Go back and watch Mission Impossible 1. You will see what we're talking about.
I have a question for Ian. How much of the first movie's plot, do you think will affect the second movie?
The only thing I think that would is that Tom Cruise doesn't trust people again.
Like any of the big events, do you think anything will?
Oh,
Well,
that's the only one. I
he-
think he just won't trust
Okay.
people because he's been
So-
burned before. I don't think. I don't know. Maybe like there's new train laws because people were fighting on the train while being chased by a helicopter. Maybe they put up nets so helicopters can't go in tunnels.
I
don't
guess
know.
I'm just asking you, like, if you think this is like the Mission Impossible movies are like Ethan Hunt one shots, or if like it's a continuous
Like standalones
think-
or continuations.
I think they're gonna start out that way. I think that'll
Okay.
evolve. But I think for at least this one, it's mostly like, remember this guy, this nutty character? And you're like, yeah,
This time
I
he's
do.
got longer
Yeah,
hair.
fuck that bitch.
Time has passed. His hair grew.
When did that sports agent movie McGuire come out?
Jerry Maguire. I feel
That was like
Yeah, he was in that, right?
97, 98, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is after that. I can't remember if he had long hair. I never saw that either, but
I know he had short
feel like
hair
he
in
would've had
Jerry
long hair
Maguire
in that.
too.
I feel like didn't he shoot The Last Samurai somewhere around this? He had long hair for that too. I
Possibly.
feel like that was right around the same time.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have his IMDb up currently, but I feel like they're all pretty close together.
Kobe McGuire, that's a cool dude.
All right, last call. Anything else before we jump into the movie? No? All right. We're taking our impossible mission seriously. Time to get into the movie. Feel free to pause us now. Go watch the movie for yourself. If you've done your homework and have already watched the movie, then you're good to go before, as we continue on here. So either way, we will all reconvene after watching the movie, and we'll get back with our review and probably pick up a fourth guest too. So we'll see you on the flip side. All right, so we're back after finishing our viewing of Mission Impossible 2, and for this part of the discussion, we've been, again, joined by our Impossible Mission Force friend, which will make our team a little bit more complete. Mike Bradley joins us for this part of the discussion.
Hey, take a look around. because sometimes I disappear.
I still like that song.
I like them both.
Yeah,
That's the Metallica song, too. That's
Yeah.
that's the soundtrack working in.
the one that killed Napster.
Yeah.
All right, so before we dive into this movie, I'm going to throw out the spoiler alert for this one. So if you have not seen Mission Impossible 2 from the year 2000 and do not want spoiled, pause this now, come back after watching the movie. Unless you're into the spoiler kind of thing, in that case, we will take care of you. Either way, last call, spoilers to follow.
Spoiler. Spoiler. Something like that.
All right, so starting just like we did with Mission Impossible 1, I'm going to start with Ian since he's the only one that this is completely new for. What did you think of this movie, and did it live up to or fall short of your expectations?
I had no real expectations for this. The first one was kind of cool. So I wasn't like, oh, this will be fucking amazing, because it won't be. And then I was told John Woo directed it, so I got a lot more excited than I probably should have, because big Woo Man Tang. Not really. I've done 3 of his. But so I've seen 2 movies, played 1 video game of his that he also directed, Stranglehold.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that
And
video game.
This is, out of the 2 movies, the worst John Woo movie I've ever seen.
What were the other movies for reference?
Only one other movie because there's
Oh,
two.
what was the
Hard
other
Boiled.
for reference?
Face.
Oh,
Off.
yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I even said that while watching this because they do math stuff. And I want to
Oh,
take
yeah.
his face off.
Literally.
Which now I'm
does it.
like, how's that not in this movie? Whatever.
Missed opportunity for sure.
It was solid. I don't think it was better or worse than the first one. It was just kind of more the same.
Okay.
Just less hand fucking.
Yeah, that's true. There was, yes. Andy, on the rewatch, what'd you think of this one?
I seem to recall liking this movie more than I did the second time around.
And you haven't seen it probably since the theater?
I would guess so.
Okay.
Or like on HBO randomly middle of the night or something.
Yeah.
So
Mike, rewatch, what'd you think?
I remembered this being my least favorite of the Mission Impossible movies. Like of all of them. And actually on this rewatch, I was, I guess, less inclined to dislike it as much as I used to. Again, I don't think it's great, but it might, I have not watched it many times. This might have only been number 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And I remember maybe this will hold up to number 3. Maybe because I feel like 2 and 3, in my opinion, were the worst. And now I'm like, maybe we'll have to see next time because it's been a really long time since I saw 3. But maybe there's some combat there. I know we got a legend in 3 as a cast member. But
Yeah.
it could be there. I don't know. It was not as bad as I remember, I guess is the way to say it.
Yeah, I think this was one that I back when I started like my compulsive, hey, I'm going to save movie tickets when I go see movies. I know I have like 3 or 4 tickets for Mission Impossible 2. Like I saw this a shit ton in the theaters when I was younger. This was the epitome of like, well, I would have been in high school. So this was like high school Brian's like awesomest movie. Like let's just, the beginning half of it is kind of slow, but then the back half is just like full on action for like 45 minutes. And I just thought it was the best thing ever. So I remember really liking it back then. Watching it now, I think maybe just because I know what it compares to, but it is a definite low point for me in this series. And Mike was mentioning 3. I think 3 gets a bad rap for people, which I'm actually really excited to get through that one with you guys, because I want to see what people think of 3 now. Because I really like 3, but I think it gets shit on by a lot of people, and I don't really know why. So I really want to see what people think about the next one, but...
well, I think what I was saying about 3, I just want to clarify. I don't think it's bad.
Yeah, I didn't like me
I
and
just
you
think 2 and
specifically
3
shitting on this, but
are the bottom of the barrel for Mission Impossible.
yeah,
I just think the rest are better.
Yeah.
That's all.
Mike, when was the last time you saw Mission Impossible 2? Do you remember how many years it's been?
No,
Okay.
I couldn't. I'd be guessing, and it would just be random guessing. Several.
Okay.
That's the best I could say.
Andy, on the rewatch, did you remember most of what happened, or did anything surprise you again on the second viewing?
I don't know that there were a ton of surprises.
Like you saw the twists coming, all the mask reveals.
Yeah, you could sort of tell that they were coming. Yeah, nothing super surprised me, I would say, but there was a lot that I didn't remember, but nothing was like utterly shocking,
Yeah. Mike, did anything surprise you on this viewing? Anything that you couldn't remember from the last time you watched that was like, oh yeah, okay.
No, I can't say anything was like shocking. There was things I noticed this time that I don't think I ever noticed before,
Okay.
but not like plot points. Just like things like, oh, we'll get into it, I'm sure, at some point. But, the reveals and the twists or whatever you want to call them. Other than, I guess, like, there was a moment there at the very beginning where I was like, oh, he's talking to Ethan and calling him, was it Dimitri?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay. And then I was like, wait a minute. No, that's wrong. Because the first time we see Ethan, he's definitely climbing that weird cliff.
Yeah.
And then I was like, so this isn't, and then I was like, so yeah, there's a reveal here. And I couldn't remember how it happened or why, but I knew that something was wrong.
There's something about like, and I had this thought while watching it, is like, Tom Cruise, like, I'm going to give him credit in this movie because every time he plays Ambrose disguised as Ethan, he has this like really shitty look on his face the entire time. Like, And I love that he pulls it off. He just looks like such a different dude with just the facial expressions the whole time. Like the mean, angry, I'm looking at you in disgust type of face the whole time. I don't know. I dig it.
Well, Sean Ambrose has this stare,
Yeah.
this creepy stare.
It comes up a lot.
Like he's looking at a bad cut of beef, you know? It's the kind of stare it is, and Tom Cruise can mirror that stare.
That's true.
Like,
yes.
It's their Blue Seal.
I don't know if I get that reference.
Zoolander.
Okay.
Male models.
Blue Steel. Okay. I thought you said Blue Seal, and I was like, I don't understand what animal you're talking. Yeah,
you know?
That's why. That's why I was.
Well, that would be Spheal in Pokemon. That's actually blue. So.
So like Ian
We
mentioned,
covered all, be it Zoomers, Millennials, Boomers with that one.
Yep.
like Ian brought up, we got a change in director in this one. John Woo steps in to take over for De Palma. So, Ian, what'd you think of John Woo's direction? I think you already said what worst movie you've seen of John Woo.
Yeah, out of the two, worst. It did have basically Face Off doesn't have as many wooisms. Like it's not covered in doves. There's not a bunch of diving double handgun shooting.
Oh yeah.
Video game
There
Stranglehold
definitely is one.
Yeah, but I mean it's not filled with it. The video game Stranglehold is only that.
Yes.
Like that's all that game is diving while holding up two pistols and doves fucking everywhere.
I feel like I remember like sliding on
sounds a bit like
tabletops
Max
and stuff
Payne.
too.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, it was like just fucking. It's like everything does that. Everything you slide and you jump into it, and this movie had a lot of that. There was a lot. First, there were just a lot of fucking birds, and then unexplained fucking dove out of nowhere, and no one seems to care that these fucking pigeons are in their secret fuck lair, whatever that is, whatever that's supposed to be for this pharmaceutical company. And then, of course, Tom Cruise has two pistols at some point. It's like, well, the best way to shoot these is if I dove at an angle and shot at the same time.
Yeah.
So it hit the wooisms. I thought, other than that, there's a lot of well-done scenes, like when they are testing out Nyla Hall in the is that Brazil?
The
Spain?
heist in the beginning.
Yeah, where they're in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And, you know, they got the weird, like, okay, we gotta like 69 each other right now.
Yeah, all
like,
this sexual
really.
tension. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, in a bathtub, but it's not, it's weird because she is, like, thrusting her crotch into his face, but he, like, wasn't into it, I guess, because he knew Katie Holmes was coming up soon. And I thought Wu did a good job of just, you know, capturing that energy, and just overall, even, like, the motorcycle stunt biking was really fun. Even like when it was very clear that was not the same Sean Ambrose on the bike, it was very clearly a different man.
Yeah, I saw that a couple times
and
too.
when there was very clearly wires hovering them back to the ground, like it. It's like, oh, the momentum slowed down there.
And I think I really appreciated it during that fight scene at the end. Tom Cruise does two actual wrestling moves. One is
I noted this.
He did the Ghetto Blaster, now known as the Enziguri, which is the one where he jumps up and kicks him with his right foot, but he's like parallel. Like that's how the kick ends at the head. He's like parallel with the guy's head. And then he also does a missile drop kick.
Oh, you missed the other two.
Which other ones?
He also throws in a rock bottom.
Oh, I saw that and I'm like, I didn't know if I wanted to, because it felt almost more like a judo throw, but yeah.
Yeah, it was more of a judo.
But he immediately follows it with just a pure drop kick.
Yeah.
Like right after he does that, it's
after, yeah.
Yeah, like it, to me, I was like, he's lining him up for a rock bottom, and then he lifts him up. I'm like, oh shit!
So I was like, there's 2.5 actual wrestling moves in this, and I popped.
Didn't he do a Hurricanrana?
That was in a different part.
That
wasn't in that same fight. He definitely did though.
He did. Oh yeah,
he
there's
like
a
landed
Hurricanrana.
knees. Yeah, like knees on the guy's neck and like twisted him down to the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that starts off with him like doing that break and not doing the flippy shit you get nowadays for modern Hurricanrana. Right, and that's when you get the guy, you get on top of the guy, and your like thighs or your ankles, like that area between your thigh and your feet, or the dude's head, and then you flip him.
Okay.
Over. That's a Hurricanrana.
Gotcha.
Depending on which way you're facing, is that the reverse way is a Poison Rana, and there's also a Frankensteiner. Because Scott Steiner's fucking cool as shit. I want to get that
Well,
in this podcast.
I think what you described is actually a Huracan Rana. And the Huracan Rana is more what he did in this, where he actually twists his whole body and takes him down to the ground. So, like, I remember this is weird semantics, but I remember the original Huracan Rana was Ultimo Dragon. And what he used to do is put his ankles on the either side of the guy's head and then do like almost like a diver's twist, whatever they call that, when like a high diver does those spins. And he would do that, and the guy would just get thrown, and it was really weird. But, sorry, I yield back to Ian. I just wanted to...
So yeah, I think my boy Wu did good. Woo.
Do you prefer Wu's direction over De Palma's?
I don't even remember that guy's name, so yeah.
Okay. Andy, what'd you think of John Woo directing this one?
I thought he had a lot of cool scenes, especially like the action sequences, but the boring first half of the movie was just that. It was very boring.
Yeah. I mean, John Woo definitely has a penchant for action. Like, I think the action sequences are decent, but...
Yeah, because I was like, I don't remember this movie being so freaking, like... I wouldn't call it torturous, but I was like, man, something better freaking start happening here.
What's that, like, weird sexual car chase that they have? That's like... I don't know. That's like, still weird.
A lot of the first half of the movie, I'm like, a lot of this doesn't even really make sense or build any plot for that matter.
Yeah.
So... And I don't, it was really annoying, all of the slow-mo scenes that were not action scenes. Like Tom Cruise walking past the statue.
Which statue was that?
The fire statue when he first meets,
When he meets, like, his handler?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, during that festival.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Anthony Hopkins. Anthony Hopkins.
Anthony Hopkins, yeah. But yeah, like he just kept slowing all these scenes down that didn't need to be slowed down, and then would like even.
Whoa, no! That was all integral to meeting the time limit of the movie.
Oh, okay.
It built tension because it made it seem like it was taking a lot longer.
They weren't really tense moments. Like he kept slowing down, like the dancers and stuff when he and Tandy Newton first started seeing each other and whatnot, and it just that didn't make sense. The horse racing.
No, but it built the tension. They got to finish the dance before people get drunk.
They kept slowing down the horse racing, and I'm like, what? Why? What's
well, obviously you were supposed to gamble on it with your fellow moviegoers.
So I thought a couple of things were a little odd.
Yeah. Mike, what'd you think of John Woo's direction?
Pretty standard John Woo. You know what I mean? Like, I know what I'm getting into with a John Woo movie. So it didn't do anything to change my opinion of John Woo as an okay director.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of things where it's like I just write it off. Like, special effects weren't then what they are now. And, as movies age, a lot of things are much more obvious than they were when we first watched them. So I can let that kind of stuff go. What I can't let go is that he obviously decided how to stylize the entire, like, final fight and sequence and whatever you want to call that around the Matrix. I'm pretty sure he just saw Neo and was like, oh, I want Tom Cruise, but that. And he just threw that in. Like, Tom Cruise, like, putting on the sunglasses and the leather jacket that's almost a duster, but not quite a duster. Like, I feel like it's because he's so short, it's a normal leather jacket, but on him it looks almost like a duster. So, but it felt just very Matrix-y is what they were going for in Ethan's aesthetic in that final sequence there. And it was like, okay, fine. It's very obvious what's going on there. This is like, what, a year after the Matrix?
Yep.
So
yeah,
it's very obvious where the influence came from. And I said, okay, fine.
But also earlier, he
big
dresses
at the
like
time.
Kim Possible. So.
Oh, that's true.
Wait,
yeah,
he dresses like Kim Possible.
Yeah,
I think before he goes into the bunker, he has like the khaki looking things with like the black almost what am I looking for, like turtleneck? Yeah.
Okay,
It
see,
looks
I've
very
never
much
watched
like
Kim Possible, and I
get up.
Or
have
you
no
could go modern, Archer, the Archer look.
I don't watch that either, but that's fair.
over.
I think the other note, like, to
Review's
me,
over,
comes
Brian.
back to the final battle there, and he made a few things like, oh, that's very convenient, you know. When what's his name in the movie? Sean.
The bad guy, Ambrose.
Sean, the
Yeah,
lunatic
like Doug Ray
French.
Scott, like
Yeah.
Sean
Ambrose.
Yeah, Ambrose. It was like, oh, that's a convenient rock for his head to fall on.
Yeah.
All right, fine. And then immediately after, he's there, like, looking over at Naya, and it's like, oh, that's a convenient place for the gun to be. And boy, that's a convenient kick of the gun up. And boy, it's convenient that that gun didn't just get clogged up with sand and actually managed
Okay, come
to
on.
shoot.
It's a movie. It was never going to get clogged unless they wanted it to. I'll
I
give
know.
you the rest, but the gun, come on. The guns don't clog up unless it's for comedic effect.
Okay.
I also feel like out of all the bullets that Tom Cruise shoots, we only see him reload maybe twice.
Are we really
Yeah, well, this
going
was
to get
before
into this
people
now?
started like complaining about that a lot. But you know, you got a lot of like gun nerds out there that started complaining about every action movie that didn't show every reload.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, there is certain sequences where it's like, yeah, he just shot 30 bullets out of a gun that should only have 9 in the chamber, or 9.
Well, I
in
think
the
it has
mag,
1 in the
but-
chamber.
Yeah, 1 in the chamber, 9 in the mag. My mistake, but it's still, it's like, yeah, he just shot way too much.
Yeah.
But I really don't feel like John Woo has ever been someone to care about that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, I get
He just
that.
says
Yeah.
more bullets, more explode. He's like Michael Bay, but with less budget.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
I feel like that's John Woo's career. Is like he's just typically gotten less budget to work with than Michael Bay. And
I think his movies are better stylized than Michael Bay.
I would agree to that too. Plus,
I'd say more stylized. I don't know. They're kind of similar in my mind.
the difference that
I've seen like 2 Transformers movies. I don't think so.
and I think the difference
Well-
with Michael Bay is the shitty sense of humor that he puts in all of his movies sticks out a lot more than
Criminals
John
are
Woo's
hot!
stuff. Yeah. that too. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give you that. But
That's the only line I remember from that fucking movie.
okay, yeah, no, John Woo's better than Michael Bay. I'll give you that. But it's very similar, though. You gotta give me that. It is similar in that more bullets and explosions is always pushed in Woo films.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, he did all right. I mean, he made use of the same thing several times, and that kind of annoyed me.
Yeah.
Where, like, it's not even just one thing that he used several times. He used, like, the seeing the person through the crowd, and I think he did both with Ethan and Naya twice, like, at different times.
Yeah.
Where they see each other across the crowd, and people are just crossing in front of them while they're staring at each other. And it's like, oh, it's dreamy. That's nice. But, like, come on. You did it once, and it worked, and then you had to go to the well again.
Yeah.
All right. He did the thing where, like, Ethan stares off into the distance and has memories more than once. Like, Ethan flashback memory things where, like, he seems distracted or weird. I don't know. Like, it was weird to see it more than once.
Yeah.
So he does it, I think, like, once it's actually not even Ethan. Because I think he does it when Ambrose corners her as Ethan, and they're flashing back to him and the pharmaceutical guy. And, like, Ethan,
Well, it's not like a
interrogating
flashback.
him.
That's like happening concurrently.
Right, but they do the same look on what is Ethan's face in that scene, but actually Ethan later. They give it that same look and the same cuts and the same stylization later in the film when they have him, like, remembering Naya shooting herself up with the Chimera. And it's like the same style of handling it, and it felt exactly the same to me, and it was like, this
Okay.
is weird.
Gotcha.
I didn't like that, personally. But
Yeah, I think Wu did fine. I between the two, like, I definitely think the thriller, like spy thriller style of De Palma on the first one works better for me than this one. But again, that's just me right now looking at it. Ask me this, 20 years ago, and I would have been like, this movie's the fucking greatest. Because when I was younger, watching the first Mission Impossible, I don't know if I got all the twists and turns and what they were trying to do in that movie. As an adult, I appreciate that movie a lot better and all the twists and turns it goes through. This is, for the most part, pretty straightforward. All the twists in this movie are just the mask reveals. That's it. Like, there's no like really plot twist. It's just you don't know who's who just because of the masks. But let's get to maybe some of our repeatable questions. And I know we sort of asked this before in the previewing thing, and I asked Mike this before he watched. How many mask gags do we think there will be? So speaking of the masks, Ian said 2, Andy said 4. I split the difference with 3. Mike also said 2. I counted 5.
I also counted 5.
So we were all wrong.
Yeah, the first one I forgave because it was it's Tom Cruise in a mask, but it's different because they've upgraded their mask technology. Instead of making real masks now, they just have the actor play the scene, and then when they want to do the mask reveal, they put the other guy in and hand him a fucking blob of rubber to make him just like move off his face.
Yep.
And there's no actual mask in the film.
I think it works. Like,
But so
I
I
like
forgave
it.
the first one. I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. It's not really Tom Cruise. I get it. And then it kept happening, and I kept getting pissed because I'm like, this isn't a gag. This isn't a bit. This is just dumb. It's not John Woo's fault because apparently this is a staple of the fucking franchise.
I do want to go on record that I think this is the movie with the most mask reveals. I don't think we're in a top 5.
And it definitely feels overused in this
Yeah,
movie.
like you feel it by the end, yes.
Yeah, like it's no longer like, oh, it's a mask. If they use it once, it's like, when's it gonna happen?
Yeah.
You don't know. Oh, there it was. If it's 5 times, by the end, you're just like...
Like, I just assumed once the second mask gag came out, Ian's like, I'm done with this movie. We're done. I'm turning it off.
For reference, how many were in the first one? Do you have that written down?
I think it was only like 3.
I think it was 2 or 3. Yeah, it didn't go over 3.
Okay.
So it was the one in the beginning, the one at the end, and probably one in the middle.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the one in the middle of that movie. But I'm not going to sit here and try to rack my brain over right now.
Yeah, no, I think you can listen to the last episode and recall
Like,
it.
it would have worked if they would have done it for the final fight scene where they were both in masks. Just like Face Off.
Just make it Face Off, basically.
I
am Castor
wanted
Troy.
that! Just make Face Off again. But if Nick Cage would have showed up, also would have taken that.
Face Off 2, Faces Offer.
Nick Cage plays all the roles. They're all wearing a Nick Cage mask.
He does an Eddie Murphy. Yeah. I'd watch that.
Out of the 5 mask gags, or mask reveals, which one, I guess, did you have a favorite? Ian, I'll start with you, because I know you love these masks.
The only one I didn't hate was the first one. The rest, I was just like, fucking, I don't care. The ones I remember, honestly, was, I guess, when he plays that doctor.
Oh, yeah. When the pharmaceutical guy is, yeah.
Fever dream.
Yeah.
And I didn't even really, like, it's not, like, that's not the guy, because that guy is dead. I watched him die.
Yeah, yep.
And
Right.
then when Ambrose is doing the Tom Cruise thing, when Nia is trying to escape, it's just very obviously not Tom Cruise, because he's doing the exact opposite of what Tom Cruise would do.
Right.
So and then the other 2, I don't even remember because I don't even think they were important.
One of them was when Tom Cruise apparently just had a mask laying around of Ambrose's henchman guy, so when he bested him in a fight, he just dressed up like him, changed clothes, put a mask on him, and threw him in there.
When he had the Hugh Stamp.
Yeah.
The Hugh Stamp
What
mask
was the
for
other
him, yeah.
one?
Both of them. The henchman and him had to both have.
Oh, that's right. That's
and
it.
the
He has-
yeah, that counts
that's
as
right.
5.
That was a double dosed.
Yep.
Okay.
That one also felt like obvious, I guess.
Yeah, because when
Tom
he's going
Cruise didn't lose.
and he's not moving his lips at all, you're like,
You're like, that's not how you break a jaw, buddy. That's not,
That's not how it works. Like, you can still form words. It's just your mouth doesn't work quite as well.
He's walking straight towards the thing that Tom Cruise would grab.
Andy, did you have a favorite mask reveal?
probably the first one. But it begs the question of, like, you sort of want to know more about why the scientist knew Ethan Hunt as Dimitri. Like, I kind of want to know more about that backstory.
Get the
I feel
prequel
like,
story.
Yeah, that was sort of, like, pretty interesting to me, and they literally didn't do anything with it.
Yep. True.
Yeah, you're just like, okay, I guess I'll just accept this, and we'll move on.
Maybe there's like a prequel comic or something that we don't know about that's out there floating
Yeah.
around.
I mean,
It
it's
could
just
be.
he's a spy. He did spy stuff.
Yeah, that's the gist. Yes.
He was spying on the Chimera stuff. Probably would be the assumption. It's like, but he didn't know what he was spying on at the time. He was just like, oh, they're doing some weird shit with, viruses over there. We should figure out what.
There's a weird German doctor doing something. Pay attention.
Yeah.
Mike, do you have a favorite mask reveal?
No, I think they all suck. There wasn't one like I said, for me rewatching it, that first one, it was immediately obvious as soon as I was like, oh yeah, that's right. And the rest of them, it was like, yeah, there was no surprises here. There was that's meant to be what this mask thing is for, is to catch you at a point where you're like, oh shit, it's a mask.
Yeah.
They didn't do that once. Not once did they manage to pull that
Oh,
off.
and also, like, if Tom Cruise was in a Tom Cruise mask.
That would have been amazing.
Yeah, just like Sting. Like, that would have, like, up that wrestling factor another level, too. Oh, God, yeah. Sting in a Sting mask is my favorite wrestling gag.
When he pulls it off and just stares at him.
Like, it's Sting!
I think, yeah, if I had to pick one, I think the first one probably is the one that works the best for me, I guess. I don't know. Even just opening the movie, like, for anyone that has never seen the movie, I feel like that's the one that works the best. All the other ones, I guess, you can sort of kind of see coming. But I like that they upgraded the mask tech, that they have the voice changers now. Like, that's a cool bit. So I like that they did that. One of the other questions we asked was, does Ethan go rogue? Ian said yes. Andy said yes. I think I said yes. Mike said yes. Ruling on the field, I'm going to say no. I don't think Ethan goes rogue in this movie.
No, he went rogue.
I think he stays
He
on
was
mission.
supposed to recover a sample of Chimera, and he destroyed all of them.
He did sort of like.
He
make
went
his
rogue.
own, like,
Okay.
He made a decision in the field that didn't match what his end goal was. So I feel like we would have to give it to yes.
It's the lightest of rogues, I think. I might give you it on
Yeah.
that technicality.
He
I
went
didn't
against his
consider
orders.
that, but
He
yeah,
didn't-
you know what? That is.
He didn't accomplish his goal.
I do think this is still the
Purposefully.
only movie that he stays as close to on mission as he possibly can.
This was very much Mission Possible.
To be fair,
wasn't like a tough one.
well, to be fair, he's talking to Anthony Hopkins, and they discuss what the impossible mission was, and they accomplish it very early in the film, and that was getting Naya to sleep with Sean again. He says, that's the impossible mission. He tells him, like, yeah, that's Mission Impossible, getting a woman to do that, and then she does, and it's like, man, mission accomplished.
Does anybody else
You got it.
just hate that part of the story?
Yes.
Like,
yes.
I think, like,
100%.
they set it up that they're going to recruit her as a thief, and you're going to use her, like, you're in it with Ethan. You think that that's what they need her for. And then they just fridge her and basically make her the guy's boyfriend or girlfriend. And, yeah, just get in there and get into his pants, and then you can find all the secrets. Like, that,
Yeah.
I don't know. It felt like such a waste.
It was. I was not even remotely emotionally interested in.
Yeah,
in
you
those
don't give a
scenes.
shit.
And they did sizzle physically. I thought they sizzled. They had really good back and forth, but
Yeah.
I didn't give a shit.
Yeah. I think there would have been, like, if they try to play the romantic side of Ethan and Naya so quickly that they want you invested in that so quickly that when this happens, you actually like, oh no, why? How could you do this? But yeah,
I mean, I
there's
thought it
nothing.
was shitty of Tom Cruise to ask her.
Yeah, that is
agree
very
with that.
true. Yes.
I felt bad in that sense. Like, man, that's a real shitty thing to do. And then I felt, man, Ambrose guy's got to be a piece of shit because she goes along with it. She's just doing what this guy she fell in love with in 5 hours wants her to do, which is go back and sleep with her shitty ex-boyfriend.
Power of love, buddy.
And I feel like they could have, like, I don't know, like, gave us some kind of, like, scenario where it showed, like, a passage of time or something so that there was time for their relationship to build or something
Yeah.
where it's like, man, they met each other, slept together, and now they are in love.
Yeah.
And it's like, come on, like, what the hell is this? Like, it just felt like he was way too attached to her, way too fast. She's way too attached to him, way too fast.
Well, he saved her life earlier.
Where's their
That's the
investment?
key.
Oh yeah, right out of a car dangling off the
It's a
cliff.
suspension
Yeah.
bridge.
Yeah, a car chase that she started and nearly got herself killed, and he saved her from it. And suddenly, yeah, that's all it takes.
Yeah, trauma that can.
Yeah.
Yep. They say they can do that, but I don't buy it because it was too. Even that was too fast. It just I don't know.
Did you guys get annoyed by like them glossing over like the setup when they were trying to set up Ambrose? Like,
Which setup
she
part?
went to prison, right?
Yeah.
Oh
And
yeah.
then all of a sudden she was out of prison. I'm like, what the fuck did I miss?
Oh yeah, he's like
do
following
not
her
gloss-
through the system or something. Yeah.
Please do not gloss over the connective details because that pisses me off.
And can we just acknowledge that she arrived on his island there, or whatever the hell that place is that's his, just barefoot, inexplicably without a reason to be barefoot.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Well, it's
I
because it's an
noticed it, and I'm
island,
like-
Mike. Who wears shoes on an island?
She's walking across concrete to get over to him when they first meet. She's not walking through sand. I'm just looking at it. I'm like,
She
why the
doesn't
hell
know
is she
that.
barefoot?
You get on the boat barefoot. You're not putting them back on.
Who gets on a boat barefoot?
Salt life, baby.
It's called sandals.
R.I.P. Jimmy
They're a
Buffett.
thing. Wait, he died?
No, he had to cancel his tour because of medical issues.
All right, so
he's
R.I.P. is a
basically
little bit.
dead. He's
Okay,
basi-
that's a little
to
strong.
him. That's dead. You can't drink or eat cheeseburgers. That's dead to a Jimmy Buffett head.
I guess
Parrot head. Sorry, parrot head.
it bugged me. All right,
I can tell.
it doesn't make sense. Where'd her shoes go? Why are they gone? She's not like
shit.
carrying them or anything. Like they're just gone.
Do you think maybe Tarantino showed up for a day?
You know what? As Tarantino filmed that part, he was like, "We gotta have bare feet," because there is actually a part that I thought Tarantino at one point too, because there's a point when they're having their car chase where it just inexplicably like zooms in on her feet on the pedals, and it's like, oh, it's a Tarantino shot. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. It bugged me. Like, why is she bare? Like, it makes no sense.
One other thing we're gonna keep an eye out for: how many times did Tom Cruise run in this movie? So Ian said 3, Andy said 5. I went up with 7. Mike came in with 4. I counted, and you guys can correct my math if I'm wrong. I counted 6.
That is exactly the number I got.
I got to a point in the film. This will show you. Like, I must have missed it on what you're counting run, because I got to a point in the film near the end where I said, "Has Ethan run yet?" And I actually wrote that in my notes. Like, has it happened?
Oh no, in the action sequence, he doesn't run for half of the film.
Yeah,
He
it's
doesn't
not
do-
until that
like,
last
okay.
45 minutes of the movie.
Yeah. And then he runs to the hallway, he kicks that guy's ass, runs to the other part of the alley, kicks that guy's ass. So he does.
But
like,
isn't
starting
that
and
all
stopping.
one run?
No,
No,
because he
because he
stops
stops
and
and
does
fights.
something.
Yes.
Yeah. But
Okay.
there was a point when he's running out of the compound, and you see him running that way, and you see him another.
It's a
shot
continued
of him
run.
coming out.
Yes.
And I was like, "That's one."
Yeah.
I'm not writing another tick. That's one.
So I actually had a question about that one, because when you see him running out of the compound, he is the henchman first, and he takes off the thing, he takes off the mask, and then he's Ethan. That could count as 2. I wrote that down as like, does it count as 2? Because
But
it's
it's
one
not-
actor
But
and
it's
then
not
another
Tom
actor.
Cruise. It's not Tom Cruise running.
So it only counts as half then.
No.
I'm kidding. Like,
I don't really remember what you guys were talking about at this point.
I mean, that counts as a mask reveal and a run. It doesn't count as half a run. Like, but okay, so we're gonna go with 6. We're gonna go with 6. I think 6 is the magic number. So no one got that one right.
You know what? You know what other thing that we should have
What's that?
continued in all of the other ones? Is there a fucking helicopter?
Just period. If there's a helicopter.
Yeah, because
like
there
that's
was a
gonna be yes
helicopter
in
in the
every
first
film.
one, and there was a helicopter in the second one.
Okay. I will.
I would say, how about does a helicopter crash?
Or what do we
Because
want
I
to
feel
go?
like there's helicopters in every one of them. I
Right.
feel like it's just like a thing. Like there's going to be a helicopter.
I feel like that's
in every
their
one of these
primary
movies.
mode of transportation for a lot of these missions is helicopter.
Well, then he goes rogue in everyone too, so it'll be yes, yes.
Okay. Well, yeah. I'll add it. I'll add it in. Is there a helicopter?
I think there was.
I'm gonna say yes.
Yeah, that's where what's his name? Luther
Yep. Luther drops in.
is shooting the grenade launcher to help him in his motorcycle chase.
Yeah.
Which it's incredibly accurate from distance. That was impressive.
Yeah.
And it
missed the
didn't
first
destroy
time.
that wooden bridge.
That's true. I was
He
impressed
missed-
with that.
He missed the first time, so it wasn't that.
Well, the car
accurate.
was on fire. He still hit it.
Barely.
Yeah, but he didn't disable it. He still hit it.
Guys were still alive.
Andy, I'm going to direct this one at you. Can you describe to us what is this villain's plan? Because I feel like I got you to laugh the last time we did this, so I'm going to just keep asking you every time.
Dollar bills, y'all. He's just making it rain, Chimera.
I see what you did there.
Yep. I think it's just to make money.
Yeah, it's a long, drawn out plan to get stock and make money and cash in on the chaos.
Yeah, the stock thing didn't even make sense because that isn't necessarily a slam dunk. Cause, I don't know.
It felt more like a James Bond villain plan. I think. I don't know. Something about the sleazy way to make money.
Yeah.
I like that they thought outside the box. It's like, okay, so you give us the 30 million, and then we use that 30 million to buy stock options, and then that way, so we can leverage those options. That way, when the price increases, we will then make a bunch of money. But what they forgot is like to make the money there with the stock options, you actually have to like execute those and sell. So you don't own the company now if you have that cash. Like you have to pick one: own the company because you control most of the stock, or you have the money because you sold the stock. That was like one fatal error with Sean's plan. The only error.
That was the jump the shark moment for Ian. He was like, "Nope, the villain's plan makes no sense anymore. I'm out. This movie's done."
I was like, yeah, I was completely in when one person affected with Chimera, when we don't actually know how it's spread to another person because Tom Cruise spent a lot of time in a vehicle with her while she's infected with Chimera, and he has no side effects of it. So I have no idea how Chimera spreads. But yeah, the stock options thing, I was like, this is dumb.
I feel like that was another thing to fill out that time limit that we mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
We had to explain.
How about we don't know how Chimera spread, right? And she's about to like jump off the cliff and infect the entire water supply.
Right. It could very definitely spread to fish. The fish
Bunch of fish are gonna get it.
Yeah.
Like
People
I
are
was
gonna
wondering,
eat the fish.
is she like dying, just like exploding the virus?
Well, you just like yeah. I mean, from the still frames you get like after 20 hours or whatever it is, like it just seems like the body starts to degrade. So at that point, even if you're in the ocean, you'd think you just degrade in the ocean and all the shit just goes and disperses everywhere out there.
Well, because like it's not airborne apparently, so I guess it's body fluids.
Right.
Just, you don't. If no one touches her when she's bleeding out of her eyes in the middle of the street, no one gets infected.
I mean, you make that case, but Ebola was quite a problem at one time, although it was airborne, so that's different.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it looked like
and it's
Ebola,
not just
like
one lady in the street, that it happened to.
And this was all the worst strains of the influenza thing. That's what they made it out to be, right?
Which I was like, holy shit, it's
messing
COVID.
around like cross breeding them and stuff or something. Like I don't.
Yeah, but like most influenza strains are airborne, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why they're so. That airborne diseases are the ones that are deadly. They needed to watch Outbreak the way they watched The Matrix, and maybe they would have.
Great movie, by the way.
Connected some dots.
Both of them.
It just would have worked better if it didn't all come down to like one person being infected.
Yeah.
Is the whole linchpin of spreading it. Like they
put it
also
in a water
just
supply.
ignoring what pissed me off. I was like, so you got rid of all the samples, but you're telling me there's nothing saved on like a hard disk of how to make it again? Like it's just impossible. Like
I also like
people take notes.
I also like how his plan was to like put her in the middle of like Sydney, Australia, and like let her spread the disease, so that then they'll have to like make all the antidote and whatever. But he has no idea where she's going or what she's doing. She's in the middle of nowhere, ready to jump off of a cliff. Who's she going to infect?
Yeah, no one's keeping her in said town. She's just wandering around aimlessly. And
also, Australia is a landlocked penal colony. Who cares? Who gives a shit?
Well, he said at the end, they would need how many millions of doses to cure everybody and make sure everybody had the vaccine or the cure or whatever on Australia. He didn't even say it was going to go worldwide.
Shit.
Well, Australians.
Fuck them, they're a bunch of criminals.
Yeah, but they care enough to buy the cure.
Let the ruse run it.
Even Tom Cruise gave him shit for it. He was like, you don't even know how, where the disease was or how it was carried. Like, you killed the only person that had the disease. It's the only part of the disease that you got.
Yeah.
It made no sense. They should have done the Joker thing and just like took her blood and put it in a water supply and then been like, okay, we gotta cure those people now. But instead they're like, we're just gonna send her out. Like, well, that's completely unreliable.
Send her out within walking distance to a cliff.
Yeah, like I don't know.
What'd you guys think of the? Ian, I'll start with you. What'd you think of the cold open stuff? Which would have been the plane reveal with the Ambrose being Ethan, and then we get the rock climbing, and then the title sequence.
The plane reveal was fine. Like I said, I thought that was the only mask thing that didn't piss me off, and you could tell it was pre 9/11 because of all the shit on the plane people had. So that stood out to me. I was like, okay, I know this movie came out before 9/11, and the cliff was weird just because it felt very clear Tom Cruise was not climbing a cliff, like a real cliff. Like he was clearly like somewhere, and then they put him on top of a little plateau eventually. And like his hands, he just wasn't built for that climbing. It didn't feel right.
He was climbing that cliff.
Nah, that was a dummy cliff. It wasn't a real cliff.
I wonder how many times this is going to happen where we have to tell Ian in these Mission Impossible movies, like, no, that was actually Tom Cruise.
No, that was Tom Cruise climbing something. It wasn't a real cliff. The dummy cliff.
I'm wondering if assuming that was him, like I'm pretty sure I'm gonna believe that they put him on a cliff somewhere. What I don't know is if he actually free climbed it or if they had wires to him. I'm assuming there's wires there that they took out.
There's wires that they took out.
Okay.
I've seen like pictures of that from every different Mission Impossible movie where they show like this is what it looked like when it wasn't edited.
Yeah.
And he had like 4 different things attached to him and a crane. Like
Okay. Yeah.
Like he was not going to die, but he was on that cliff.
Yeah.
But they edited out all the harnesses, all the cables, like he was
and the mask the cliff was wearing.
yeah that was also not included. That would have been a good reveal. It's the Sphinx, you know.
No, it's Luther.
Oh, right, okay.
Mike, what did you think of the cold open?
I had one note about it, and that him getting the destructible message in a pair of Oakleys that he tosses and blows up, and it leads into a Limp Bizkit intro, is the most year 2000 thing I think I've ever seen.
Fucking loved it at the time. Loved it.
Yeah.
It's not even a top 3 Limp Bizkit song.
That is true. I will tell you, yes. But I'll be damned if it's not on my Limp Bizkit rotation when I ever go down the Limp Bizkit rabbit hole. Andy, what do you think of the cold open?
I had the same note that Mike did. I said cool shades. The cliff climbing thing, I don't know, just like he's just randomly doing this on his vacation. That's weird.
The only reason that they do that is just, I think, just to set up that it wasn't him on the plane, right? Like, he
Right.
was there, so that's why they had to get Ambrose to kickstart the whole thing. Like, that's about it.
I think that's mostly, if you want me to be honest, it's Tom Cruise's ego. He wanted to be shot doing that.
Yeah.
That's why so many of these scenes exist in these movies. He wanted to be shot doing it, and he made it happen.
Yeah.
Which is fine, because it's cool as shit that he actually does a lot of the stuff that is in these movies. That's cool as shit that actors don't do that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to spoil anything for them on what's coming in the other movies that he actually does. But most actors don't do that. You know, they're just like, we'll just CGI it. It's fine.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, we got to do it. So I think that's cool, but I also think it's part of his thing. Like, he wants to be shown
He's like some sort of
doing it and looking badass or
adrenaline
something.
junkie for sure. Yeah.
How bad was the CGI on the airplane though?
Oh, I noted that
the first
too.
one,
like,
the first flyover, and I was like, whoa, that looks
Yeah.
fucking bad. Like
OG Microsoft Flight Simulator.
yeah, like what is this? Windows 95? Like what is happening right now?
Yeah, I noted that same thing. Like, wow. But
Andy, I'll come back to you. Do you have a favorite? I was gonna say action sequence, but I'll just say, is there a favorite sequence in the movie that stood out to you?
I think the favorite sequence I have is when Luther is trying to open the ducts, and Tom Cruise jumps anyways. He's like, no, and he's like, open, please open. Oh my God, please open. I don't know. I like that sequence, which sort of spawned the whole like you said, 45 minutes of action.
Yeah.
yeah.
Mike, you have a favorite sequence?
I mean, probably just that first meeting between Ethan and Naya.
Okay.
because I think one, that little hidden compartment is one of the like coolest little ideas ever.
Oh yeah.
That was fucking cool. Like having like a chip reader built into a hidden like in between the grout or something. It seemed like that was cool, and then it popped. Like I don't know, that was cool.
It's a bitch for mold.
Yeah, you got to keep it dry in there, but as long as you keep it dry, that chip reader keeps working. You're good. Otherwise, that would they say $500,000 necklace that was in there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ian, do you have a favorite sequence?
I guess the end fight, mostly because of the enziguri.
Yeah.
I was trying to think. Like, I wanted to say action sequence, but like some of the action doesn't do it for me in this movie. I don't know. It just it doesn't live up to.
What about just the fucking pigeons?
Yeah. Wasn't. Yeah, they were fine. I guess they were fine. They did their job, right?
They got a bunch of pigeons that just sit there for like 10 seconds.
I think the sequence that stands out to me that I think is actually directed well. Like you have an understanding of what's going on, where everybody's positioned, and it builds the tension for that scene. Is the horse track sequence when she's trying to steal the memory card from Ambrose to get it to Ethan and then get it back. Like that sequence still works for me, and it's surprising to me that I think a movie that focuses so heavy on the action for the back half that's the sequence that stands out to me. Like I'd rather watch that than the action stuff, but I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at on this viewing, I think.
Did you like when he yelled out, it's in my right pocket? Because he like knew she put it in the wrong
Just to
pocket.
make it a point where you're all aware he knows that she fucked up.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Not just like when they slowed it down when she put it in the wrong one because she was panicking, and then they like freeze framed on him noticing it. Like in the moment. We had to then yell it out later.
Could the scene have been a little bit better? Sure. Is it still my favorite one out of the movie? Yes. Like I get that. There's sequence parts like that are just as cheesy, but it's
when
fine.
he was gonna use that cigar cutter on Hugh. I like that.
I had a note about that because I actually laughed out loud when he went just like the way the actor did it. I actually like laughed out loud, and I was like, oh shit, I don't think I was supposed to laugh there.
How many takes?
Yeah, that's supposed to be intimidating, Andy. You're not supposed to laugh.
I was not intimidated. I thought that was fucking hilarious. He was like, oh.
I wish the listeners could see the face you're making on your end when
That's
you do
the way
that.
he did it. It was so fucking ridiculous.
Maybe a little bit of just comparisons between the last two movies that we had. Favorite villain, Jim Phelps or Sean Ambrose? Mike, we'll start with you.
I absolutely hate John Voight, so I'm gonna go Sean Ambrose. John Voight sucks. So that's personal opinion. That's not, that's just my opinion.
Andy, where do you fall?
I feel like because I like the twists in the first one better, and I feel like Sean Ambrose was very vanilla, almost like the anti-Ethan as far as like spies go. Ethan tries to like do everything the right way, and Ambrose is more just like, oh, bang, 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 shoot, shoot, shoot. I'd say probably Voight was my favorite.
Okay. Ian?
This is really tough, but I think it comes down to 1997's Anaconda, which is a masterful job on John Voight. I gotta give it to him.
I feel like I'm going to give it to Voight and Phelps also, but not for the reasons that Ian mentioned. Like more in line with Andy on this one, I think. But yes,
well-known Brazilian John Voight.
Like that accent, man. They let those people do whatever the fuck they wanted in that movie.
They really did. Pretty sure Ice Cube even says, "Yo, today is a good day."
So we'll keep adding to that every time we get a villain in another movie and see where we rank everybody by the end.
I don't know. It's gonna be tough. Anaconda.
I'm gonna say next one. I'm gonna try favorite. I'm gonna call them IMF handlers. I think we have Kittredge in the first movie. I'm gonna call Kittredge the handler of that movie, and then Anthony Hopkins in this one, which I don't even know what his character's name is in this movie. Do they? I don't know if they give him a name.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Is he even credited?
I don't know. I didn't look at the credits to actually be sure.
It's like I don't see him on IMDb.
No, like he's not listed on IMDb, which is weird.
It's meant to be a surprise, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it surprised me because I thought, like, when I first heard it, I forgot he was in the movie, and I actually thought he was someone else.
Oh, it is an uncredited cameo.
Okay.
Okay.
Feels
So,
like more than a
the
cameo.
other guy get
because
credits? Because that's what I'm going with.
Yeah.
Going with the dude who got credits.
Andy, do you have a favorite between the two?
I feel I feel like Kit Rich actually had like some sort of character development
And stuff
Purpose.
to do. Yeah.
and stuff to do. Anthony Hopkins was just there because he's fucking Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah.
So I would say Kit Rich was probably my favorite. Nothing against Anthony Hopkins. I think he's a great actor, but you didn't need him in this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just more like because I feel like the handlers change a lot of the movies too. Like there's not a lot of reoccurring characters in some of these, so that's another one we can just keep coming back to after every movie. Mike, where do you stand, Kittredge or Anthony Hopkins?
I mean, I got to go Anthony Hopkins on this one just because he's Anthony Hopkins and his scene as Anthony Hopkins was, I mean, 1,000 times better acted than anything that Kittredge put forward.
Ooh.
Because he's Anthony Hopkins. He doesn't even have to, like, he doesn't, like, how much effort does Anthony Hopkins need to be better than almost, like, take just random actor, and you're probably coming out with Anthony Hopkins being better. Because he is one of the greats.
I mean, sure.
So
I get the reasoning. I get
I get the
disagree,
character
but
for Kittredge had more to do and had more development, but Anthony Hopkins is Anthony Hopkins, man. It's Odin. I gotta go with
But
Odin.
why
Yeah, I
was
mean,
he
I guess-
there?
like Anthony Hopkins, like yes, he's a good actor. He's fine and stuff. He doesn't. There's nothing here that I felt like, okay, yeah, that needed to be Anthony Hopkins. Like, it's just him reading lines. Like, there's nothing that stood out to me about that. Kittredge, I feel like I can't even remember that actor's name, but the way that dude reads lines and, like, the inflections he has when he talks to people, I relish that. I love that shit.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think Kittredge for me. We already answered the question, is there a helicopter? Yes, for that one. Any other repeatable questions I think that we need to get to? I think that's kind of all I have. So if I'll give it a last call from everybody if there's anything else we want to do, and then we can do ratings.
Can we add an unexpected or a question?
We can try. What do you got?
Unexpected cameos?
Okay. Just
Because I feel
who
like
they
Anthony
are,
Hopkins
or
falls into that.
is
no,
is this like a yes
how
or no
many?
question, or
I think like a how many? Like, is there going to be an unexpected cameo?
Oh, okay.
I think is the question. Because there's two in here, actually. There's two. Anthony Hopkins is one. Any of you noticed the other one?
No.
Yeah, not off
Oh.
the top of my head. No.
I don't think.
And you watch Prison Break.
Oh yes, I did notice that guy. Yeah, the henchman guy that has hair now and he's not bald. Like,
Yes, that's what made him hard to notice. Dominic Purcell also was Dracula in Blade Trinity.
For any fans of the Arrowverse, he is, I think, not Firestorm, for the other fire guy.
Isn't Firestorm a chick?
No, well, I don't know, but Firestorm in the show is another character, but
okay.
Firefly.
I don't think it's Firefly. I can't. Shit. Now it's been a while since I watched the Arrowverse stuff that I can't think. He's the guy with the flamethrower gun, but now I can't. Heatwave. He's Heatwave.
Okay. So yes, he's in there too. He's almost unrecognizable, but he's there.
Gets shot in the leg.
Yep.
I don't actually know if he lives after that, or if that's considered like henchman dead, but definitely gets shot in the leg.
I looked it up. It says deceased.
Okay. Yeah, I think he was at some point in that facility when Ethan and Ambrose are talking and the guns, the injection guns on the ground, he's one of the first guys that I think tries to go for it and gets shot on his way to the gun.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, they're unexpected, but there it is.
Anything else stand out for you guys about the movie? So last call going around. Andy, anything else you want to touch on?
I was pretty shocked that his crew was only one Australian dude and Luther again.
Did you expect a bigger crew?
Kinda, because I mean the first one started out with a rather large crew. I mean a lot of them died, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of expected a little bit more of them trying to add characters into it.
Gotcha. Okay. Ian, anything else you want to touch on?
Face off.
All right, good last call. Mike, anything else from you?
So I'll see if any of you guys can remember. I do have one note that says that this is the entire note that I wrote down. Ethan and Colonel Willie Guile Hunt. He does that spinning upside down
Oh,
kick,
yeah.
like the bicycle kick,
bicycle
whatever
kick.
you want to. Yeah, he does that at one point. And I was just like, "Yep, he's Guile from Street Fighter now. That's awesome." Should have cast him instead of Jean-Claude. Why not?
What? Fuck you! God, Jean-Claude's a national fucking treasure. Kumite, bitch!
Ian's gonna riot.
I have two other notes on the movie that did not get mentioned at all. One is that they completely ripped off the opening of Dark Knight Rises. I don't know what's with John Woo
Wait,
going
what?
forward and just like ripping that off. They're kidnapping a guy or something like that off of a plane, and they're killing a guy. It's fine. They ripped it off. Shit happens. The other one is Ethan's hair is just way better in this one. He's got a way better haircut.
There's something
it
about
sticks with him.
we could rate Ian's haircuts maybe through the. That's another reoccurring thing we could try to do.
My haircuts?
Or Ethan.
Yeah,
I did say Ian. Yeah, Ethan's haircuts.
That's
Why
like-
not both?
That's not gonna work with the audience, I
Jesus.
feel like.
Jesus, sorry. Yeah, we could.
We're just gonna post a
Ethan's
picture of
haircuts.
Ian
I'm gonna
from
cut all that
here
out,
up
so we'll
every
never
time
know
while
I
we-
fucked that up.
Oh, I'm gonna hit the fake blood if you're cutting all this.
Oh, Andy, I know you said you had notes. Did we cover all your notes that you wrote down? I want to make sure they're all
Let me
covered.
see here. I'll read them in order. I got cool shades, a lot of slow-mo action sequences, and then I have cheeky bastard, which I think is what she calls him in the car. And why is he so intent on working with Tandy Newton? He does not look at the fire while he's walking past the fire statue. I thought for a second he was being set up by Anthony Hopkins, but I wrote that down. Tandy Newton and Tom Cruise sizzle physically, but not emotionally. So the plot is
Dig.
the plot is thin, very light on connective details. How'd she get out of prison? And then I wrote cigar cutter blowout. Ha ha. I thought the other part that was really funny was the binocular talking. Really? Ha ha. Because they were staring at each other, talking to each other while looking at each other
Oh,
with
yeah.
binocular. I'm like, that was fucking stupid. I have spy versus spy when they are actually fighting each other. Then I have the helicopter in Mission Impossible 1 and Mission Impossible 2. Then I wrote, sand gun kick move not realistic? Question mark. And lots of one-liners, especially in the beginning. And that is the end of my notes.
Okay. I'm so proud of you for
I
taking
know,
notes.
yeah.
I want to find one of those, like, you ever see on YouTube there's like trick shot guys that do weird stuff with guns that you would just never, like quick draws and weird stuff that people can do with stuff.
No, I don't
I
watch
wanna
snuff
challenge-
films.
I want to challenge somebody to do the kick out of the sand gun catch.
Like have a launcher or just try to like kick it and hopefully it goes that
No,
way?
like not a loaded gun, obviously. Do it with something,
But I mean, like,
just
are you-
see if you can actually kick it up and catch it, and then be able to turn and aim and pull a trigger all in one motion.
Well, like obviously, like the effect there, it's like it's some sort of contraption that kicks the gun straight up in the air so you can grab it. Are you talking about rigging something to do that for you, or just
Like,
put a gun in?
no,
Put something in the
he
sand and see
didn't-
if you can kick it.
Ethan didn't rig that. The people that made the movie rigged it that way. I want to see if you can do it in real life the way they showed Ethan.
Especially-
To
do it,
just stick a
which
gun
is
in the
kick
sand
it.
and kick it up
especially
in the air.
because like the
Yeah.
foot movement he does is very just like
Forward,
and
not
short.
up.
Yeah, forward and
Yeah.
short. And I'm like, holy hell, that thing went in like 5.5 feet in the air. Oh wait, no, Tom Cruise is shorter than that. It went like 3.5 feet in the air. You know, like,
With the motion he does in that sequence, he should have kicked the gun towards
Yes,
Luther. It seems
yes.
like it should go that way.
Or just dug it further
Yeah.
into the ground.
Yeah.
But I want to see somebody try. Why not? If any of you listen to this, I'll watch that YouTube video. I'll be your view.
Mike will
I'm
be
trying.
your dueler. You have to duel Mike for this.
No.
All I keep seeing is how to get kicked out of the gun range. I don't want to click those.
It doesn't have to be a real gun. It could just be a prop that weighs the same and has the same dimension.
Well, I'm not going to type in how to kick up a prop gun not real from the sand into YouTube and hope that works.
All right, around the horn, rating
Real
out of
fake
10.
prop guns.
Out of 10. What are we
wait,
rating
can,
this
can
one?
you give us a refresher on what we rated Mission Impossible 1?
No, because
Fuck,
he didn't look it
no,
up.
because I didn't look anything up.
Son of a...
Yeah,
We
fuck
should
it.
know by
Come
now.
on,
I don't keep the running
Fucking-
tallies of
I
these
was
things.
sort
I
of-
probably should, but
That's
I
on
don't.
Ian.
I
That's
was
your
hoping
job.
We had
had a spreadsheet.
We had to do 4 fucking movies before I gave in and just did it for Rewind Theater because Brian wasn't going to do it.
Well, there's only 6 of these right now, so we need you to start now, okay?
Yeah, Brian.
I will make it a point to
Fucking
make
show.
these. I will have the ratings for us next time for 3. I will know what we rated the first 2 by the time we get to 3.
Okay, my rating's half point higher than my previous rating.
All right, fuck you, Andy. What do you give the movie out of 10?
I feel like I gave the first one better than this. I'm going to give this a 5.
Okay,
It's just kind of for me.
that's fair. Mike, out of 10, what do you think?
I think I'm coming in at a 5.5.
Okay.
I think that's where I think it's not as good as the first one, but not as bad as I remember. I remember this being like a 3,
Yeah.
and watching it again, it's a 5.5. It's it's not great. It's not terrible.
Ian, what do you think out of 10?
6.3.
Okay. Higher than I think I would have expected. I think I'm gonna come in on the low end. I'm gonna give it a 4. I wasn't crazy about it this time. I think I don't know. It's probably one of those movies that still depends on my mood, but I think after this one, I think it's probably one of the least favorite times watching it. Like, I don't know. It didn't do a lot for me this time, and I'm surprised I even gave it a 4, but I remember liking it before, like really liking it when I was younger. So I think that just has some nostalgic points for me, but I do feel like this will be my lowest rated Mission Impossible movie, for sure.
What
I
about
think that's
7?
as close to a.
What about, what,
Go
7?
ahead.
Yeah.
We haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, 7's not out yet.
Yeah, so I could easily be the lowest.
True. Yeah, we haven't seen 7 to decide, but
I mean, is Michael Bay directing 8? Who knows?
the answer is no, he's not.
I-
But we'll see.
Avatar 3.
I was just.
I
I
don't
was
know.
just
You're
gonna
just naming
say, I
movies
think-
at this point. Like, I don't know what's happening.
Wait, did Avatar 2 come out yet?
No.
Christmas.
Oh, they re-released Avatar. That's what.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We all see that?
What I was gonna say is, I feel like that's the closest on any movie that we've had ratings on, as far as like the consensus.
I think
Like
Turtles.
4,
I think
5,
we all hated
5.5, and 6.3. I feel like that's the tightest grouping we have had on a movie rating.
It might be.
I think we were all on the 3s for all the Turtles.
You are false. So
Yep.
false. What? Get the fuck out of here. I don't know why I keep inviting you back and just have you trash the Turtles every fucking time you're on the show.
We don't trash anime every time you're on the show.
What? Because you don't
No.
understand it.
That's very true. Yes.
You don't understand the Turtles enough to trash them either.
I've sat through 3 of those fuckers.
I've seen anime.
You sat through
JoJo's
4 of
is
those
really
Turtles
good.
movies, didn't you? Or did you miss one?
I've seen them all because I thought that was the whole point, was to torture me.
We did the animated one. That was number 4.
Yeah, we've still got 2 more.
So there's definitely just 2 left.
Yeah, the animated one where the one ran off to Brazil to be a freedom fighter.
Yep. That's the one. Yep. So you do remember Turtles stuff. I'm proud of you.
I remembered that weird plot point and I think nothing else. Oh, and that hockey guy's a rapist.
Whoa. Okay. We're not. All right. Shut it down.
It totally happened in the first one. Remember that creepy rape vibe he had? We talked about that.
We did talk about it. I do remember, yes. But, all right, moving on.
No, what you were supposed to do there is say, and that's been Bright Kind of Super Friends. You're supposed to end the show on that line.
We are ending. Yes, this is it.
Just cut it there and just redo it. Go.
Fix it in post.
Yeah. All right, so that's it for Mission Impossible 2. So when we ever come back to this series, we'll be watching Mission Impossible 3. This was 2006 and features the movie directorial debut from J.J. Abrams. So we will catch that hopefully in about 2 months. We'll see where we're at.
Wait, it was
If we're keeping to our schedule, about 2
6
months.
years between 2 and 3.
Yes. And then I think it's an even longer gap between 3 and 4.
Well, it was 4 because the first one was 1996, and then this one was 4 years later in 2000, and then 6 years for that one, and then I think Ghost Protocol is
3 didn't do very well, so it did not make as much money as they wanted, so it kind of put Mission Impossible on hiatus for a while until 4.
That's actually less. That was 5 years. That was 2011.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was later than that. Well, my bad then. All right, so this is the biggest gap then between Mission Impossible movies. All right, so we'll see where we go. And like I said, probably about 2 months we'll come back. And that's it for us. If you've enjoyed the show, please support us. Leave a 5-star rating and review. Give us a share on social media. Be sure to follow or subscribe to the show. We're on Spotify, iTunes, Google, Anchor, Stitcher, Amazon. Hopefully anywhere you're listening to podcasts, you can find us. Check us out on Facebook. Search Bry Guy into Super Friends or go to facebook.com/Bry Guy Super Friends. You can give us questions, comments, topic suggestions, any of that stuff there. Try to email us, bryguysuperfriends@gmail.com. It's probably been over a year since I checked it, but, go for it. Hit us up on Twitter @BGSuperFriends. That we will respond to, that I will see. If you would like to follow me on Twitch, I am @JediBryGuy. That's Jedi with an I, Bry with a Y. If we ever decide to do any live recordings of the podcast, we will do it there. If you want to randomly see me play games here and there, also do it there as well. And that's it. On behalf of Andy, Ian, Mike, and myself, thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.
This podcast will self-destruct in 5 seconds.